Please welcome Dr. Amber Gunner.
In the same week that I would find out that I was pregnant with my second kid would also be the same week that I was laid off from my job. And you see, this was devastating because I am someone who loves to work. And what was intended to be a time in my life that was exciting was suddenly filled with unexpectancy, sadness, and even some embarrassment. In 1985, Michael Jordan experienced an injury that took him out of that game along with 60 other games. And now if you're wondering, am I even old enough to have known that? I am not. But I can imagine that Jordan and his teammates were devastated, much like I was. As people would ask how I was doing, I would say that I'm fine. I put my head down and I applied for as many jobs as I could. After weeks and weeks of no job, I suddenly began to realize that I may not be employed for a little while. And as the gravity of that began to really sink in, one evening in particular, I was sitting on the couch. My then husband was in the garage waxing his car. My daughter was off in her room playing with her dolls. And suddenly, I felt as though maybe if I was no longer here, that would help the pain to go away. As soon as that thought entered, so did another. And it said, you're going to have to ask for help. But I'm not somebody who asks for help. But this moment seemed as if it was going to be a necessity. I called my husband in, I set him down, I took a deep breath, and I shared with him what I was experiencing. He listened, he did not judge. And by the end of that week, he had me in to go and see my OBGYN. She also listened and took my concerns very seriously. She would give me medication that would be safe for me as well as for my baby. A few weeks later, we'd hire a doula. We didn't do that with the first one. But this doula would help me to reconnect not only with myself, but also with my baby. She'd also give me some holistic practices to be able to help with the sadness that I was experiencing, much of which included 5 dates a day and red raspberry tea, but I did it. Shortly after that, my sorority sisters were improving my resume, sending me jobs to apply for. And before I knew it, my son was here, healthy, I was safe, and gainfully employed. And you see, it wasn't my strength alone, my fortitude, that helped me through that chapter of my life. It was my community, my connections, and my ability to ask for help. We all know that burnout deals with too much stress. And we think that if we can manage the stress, that we can prevent burnout. And while to some extent that is true, that is not the full picture. Because you see, burnout is not only about stress, it's also about not having enough support. And we live in a society that glorifies individualism as a means of success, that's the only way you can be successful, to do it on your own. But you know, the research actually says something different. Employees that have support systems at home, as well as in the workplace, experience a 50% reduction in burnout. That overwhelm, that irritability, that exhaustion is 50% less. Burnout is not only about stress, it's also about disconnection. And we have all heard the phrase that it's lonely at the top. further illustrating that in order to be successful, you must be isolated. I want you all to do something with me. Go ahead and close your eyes. I see you peeking. Go ahead and close. As you do so, I want you to visualize what success looks like for you. That might be having the amount of money you desire, your dream home, vacation, or maybe even becoming the CEO of your own company. As you sit in that success, I want you to visualize your friends, your family, your colleagues. They are there, and they are cheering you on, clapping and proud of your success. As you open your eyes, I want you to hold on to that, because that is what it feels like to be successful with your community and your network supporting you. I'm a workplace wellness consultant, and I go into corporations and support their employees with decreasing burnout through connection, working with executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs. They all say one thing: they struggle in asking for help. Why is that? These are ambitious people, high achievers, top of their class. Why do they struggle in asking for help? One, it's looked at as a sign of weakness, that you're incapable or incompetent if you need help. Two, they think that if they just push through, that eventually it'll go away. Three, they are the person that everybody else goes to ask for help. How can they possibly need it? And then four, they don't know how to ask for help. They'll come to me and they'll say, if I've asked for help once, I'm not asking again. Uh-oh, somebody else is guilty. And then I'll say, but have you asked them based on their strengths? You see, it's not enough to just ask the person that is closest to you or the person that you go to for everything. You've got to match your needs with their strengths. And I learned this the hard way. My in-laws were so excited to become grandparents. These are their only grandchildren, our 2 kids. And the school would host these grandparents' day and have all these activities and things, and they would not come. And I'm like, is it me? What is it? Why will they not come? They were so excited to become grandparents. And then my husband would say, Amber, they're almost 80. They don't want to drive, especially not in the city. And I get that. One thing they would do, though, if I'd asked them to keep those kids for a week or even 3 months, they would do so gladly. And now my mom, on the other hand, she will drive any and everywhere. But after 2 days, you have got to come get your kids. And that taught me something so important, that it's about a person's capacity and also their skill set. It had nothing to do with my in-laws not caring about me or their children. I simply did not understand that they will help where they have capacity and where their skills lie. And when I look at my clients and they return back and I say, how is it going? They'll say, you know what? So many people have said yes to helping me. And I say, you think? That's because they've done the 3 things that I'm going to tell you of how to get the help that you need. 1, you've got to write down all of your needs. 2, you want to write down the names of the people that are in your community and in your network. Next to their names, I want you to write down their strength. And if you don't know their strength, it's time to have a coffee date. Once you have that, you are going to match your needs and their strengths. Because you see, we won't accomplish preventing burnout if we try to continue going at it alone. It's going to require our community, our network, and our ability to ask for help, because it just might save your life. Thank you.
That was Dr. Amber Gunner.